I'm Tim with the Scheib Real Estate team, and this is Behind the Signs special guest, Wylie branch with Keller Williams down in Texas. What part of Texas you in?
Fort Worth.
Fort Worth. So would that be Dallas, Fort Worth, or do you just focus in Fort Worth?
Well, I sell all over Dallas, Fort Worth. I live the very west side of Fort Worth, but because there's so many people migrating to Texas, Dallas, Fort Worth, they have a radius, and so wherever they end up, I end up going.
I understand that. We're getting a lot of people migrating to the Midwest as well. So here in Des Moines, we've got low cost of living. We're above average on median income. And so with that being the case, if you're working from home, it's a great spot to live.
A magic combination.
If you can deal with the snow and the cold.
Yeah, no thanks.
Yeah. It's not, you only have about 2 months worth of frigid cold, and it goes pretty quick.
Okay.
But
we have zero.
Yeah, don't say zero. You guys got froze out about a year or two ago.
We did, and I have a brand new house because of it. So
brand new house. How'd that happen?
Pretty much. We had a leak here in our kitchen, and we have a laundry room, a full bathroom, a kitchen, a well room. And so it hit the sweet spot that gave us brand new half a house. So
you said well room. What is a well room?
We are on well here.
Okay.
Instead of city water, we have well water.
Okay.
And so I have a well pump and all of that, in a little room out by the garage.
Gotcha. So with you being 23, that explains the gray hair.
Correct. 23.
Yep. Yes. The well water does it to you, right?
Good job. Good job.
Yeah. Speaking of that, I just did a TikTok on that, and we are on TikTok live right now.
We are.
Wylie's got us on live. He invited me in, so we are both on here. But I just did a TikTok about, getting older and not recognizing it. And the reason I did that was because, man, I got lambasted by the TikTok teenagers lately.
Have you? Me too.
Another gray-haired guy telling us what to do. Well, yeah. Yeah, son.
Hey, Grandpa, what's for dinner?
Hey, children, learn from the experience. That's what it's calling you. Respect your elders. You don't disrespect your but whatever.
That's right. Well, I've had gray since I was 32. So, people have been listening to me and tuning me out for quite a while.
I had a friend in college. He was a roommate. He was 20. Silver Fox. In college, you see Just for Men on the counter, and it's absolutely hilarious. But he went into commercial real estate, and he quit dyeing his hair, and now he's like the top broker in the entire region.
There's a trust factor in the gray.
Isn't it crazy?
It is a little bit.
A little bit. So we got in a conversation a little bit yesterday about the millennial age, and I think that there's some misunderstanding out there amongst, what do you want to say, half the millennials? Like, I think half the millennials get it, and the other half may not get it.
Probably.
That sound about right?
Yeah, I think I think I can't quite pinpoint it, but part of it is demographic of where they may be a millennial. If there's a millennial in California versus a millennial in the Midwest, I think there's two different patterns there, and so yeah, probably half think one way and half think the other, Tim.
And it's almost like there's a millennial 1 and a millennial 2, or an A and a B. It's kind of like once you hit that little age gap, because the biggest concern that the young people, the young professionals, young adults have is being able to afford a home. And I wasn't arguing that. Like, that is definitely something that is going to be tougher and tougher. Our starter homes went from 150,000 up to 250,000. Like, that's a big jump. And with rates going up, it's even harder to afford those homes. But I guess you can't just throw your chips in and say, I'm never going to do it. I'm never going to get a house. I'm never going to be able to afford it. Because that, to me, that just sounds like that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
It is. And I don't know if I can articulate this right, but every generation goes through different challenges. My parents, the saving generation of the Depression, they learned to save, and they lived in retirement, and they built fortunes and IRAs and such that and pension plans that my generation, Gen X,
Mm-hmm.
probably won't see, the most of us. And so now the millennials, I was doing some math, and gas in 1965 was 30 cents a gallon.
Mm-hmm.
And so now what's that? That's 10 times inflation today.
Yep.
Well, the dollar, the hourly wage, that's also increased by 10.
But they don't. But you don't see that. Like, you don't hear. That's not what we hear, right?
Correct. And and I'm 55, and so whenever I was 21, man, I worked in the mall. I was making $7 an hour, and in 1995, I bought an $89,000 home. It's
Wow.
$7 an hour.
Yep.
So and now that home has increased 4 times.
Yep.
The wage hasn't increased 4 times. However, these millennials are more educated than a lot of Gen X was.
Right.
So they're making more money at a younger age than I ever made.
Right.
So I just, it's just such a combo of thoughts that go behind that. And what I'm seeing on social media is the narrative from millennials that we're just never going to be able to afford it. And now the Gen Z's coming in, because Gen Z starting to buy houses. Yep. They're singing the song and dance. And the conversation that, started you and I talking about it was, I did a TikTok on my daughter, and how, $700 worth of Lululemon and DoorDashes and convenience store runs and all that a month, adds up.
It does.
So, I go on and on, Tim.
I think I had that same conversation with not even a conversation. I kind of spoke at them because I don't know if they replied, but it was the same thing. Like the cry, like, oh, I don't have this. But you know what? Back in 1950, when your parents bought your home, they didn't have internet. They didn't have cell phone bills. They didn't have cable TV. I mean, I didn't have cable TV until I was in, probably junior high. Mm-hmm. You went and you played outside. You hear the people talk about drinking out of the hose. Well, hell yeah, you drink out of a hose. No question about it. But like that, those are the savings that they had, which gave them the ability to buy homes, which today it's, if the kids don't have a Stanley Cup, you know what a Stanley Cup is? They went from a water bottle to the thermal water bottles to now they're like thermal cups that are 40 ounces with a handle on it and a straw coming out of it. Every kid has to have a Stanley. And it's like, those are $40. Like you don't need that stuff. You already had the thermal water jug, which we didn't. Do you remember carrying a water bottle around as a kid?
Oh yeah.
You did?
Well, no, probably not as a kid. I mean, I had a water bottle at some point, like college, I think. We had a water bottle that we would fill up at the water fountain, just because we were in class and such.
Yeah. See, never, man. I remember the thermal jugs that like you would take to a ball game and all the kids would drink out of the same jug. But like today, if a kid doesn't have a water bottle, it's unbelievable. Like,
oh, everywhere they go, and yes,
everywhere.
It wasn't like that for us. It was a class time thing.
It was funny. You know how smokers get the wrinkles on their lips because they're always smoking? The kids today drinking out of their Stanley Cups. I opened some eyes because I was like, those smokers, they get those wrinkles. What do you think you're doing when you're sucking out of a straw? The same stinking motion. It's going to be pretty funny when y'all got wrinkles because you're sucking on a straw all day.
That's funny.
Tiny little sips of water. But they're saying our echo's bad. Do you have your phone? Nope, your phone's not near your speaker, is it?
No, it's over here, but my volume's turned down. I don't know how to fix that.
Well, hopefully they can get it. Otherwise, they can go to YouTube and check it out. But
yeah, that's right.
You on TikTok, is this how's the audio? Is it still echoey? It may have been mine because I set my phone right on my computer because I'm on my little makeshift stand right here. I got it, those old TV trays that you'd sit by the couch and eat on. That's what I got right here.
Oh, how funny.
But so let's go into the real estate talk, right?
Okay.
We know millennials, we know that they have the opportunity to buy homes. I say to them, we still have zero down loans, and I'm not talking FHA or VA. Do you guys have options for zero down there?
Not many, no. No,
So
just VA pretty much.
we have a few. So like we have a credit union. They do a 90-10 loan,
Mm-hmm.
and they do the 90% at the 30-year fixed rate. And then the 10 is a 10-year balloon. So at the end of 10, you have to refi that portion of it. Hopefully you have that paid off. If not, you could refi the whole house, or you just refi that 10. But it's like 1 point higher. But with that, you have no PMI. So,
That's right.
right. And so like let's say someone has 10% to put down on a house. It makes sense to get that 90-10 loan, and then in 2 months from now, pay that 10 off and get no PMI, and you got your 30-year fixed rate at 90%.
Right.
But there is options. There's that one at that credit union. There was another credit union was doing it, but I think they ran out of deposit to loan, like because they're in-house loans. And then we got a bank that's doing the 100% financing, and these are not government-backed loans.
Okay.
So so when I see people saying, like you said, $18,000 to put down on a house, and you got lit up with people saying that's not enough, you can't do that. Yes, you can. You absolutely can. And 3.5% is just like the minimum on a conventional, correct?
That is right.
So 3.5% of 200,000 is much less than $18,000.
Right. Tim, I just closed the deal, and I got two 28-year-old, a nice little couple and their child, in a $350,000 new build.
Yep.
And they put the 3% down, so that was like 10.5, and then the builder paid all the closing costs.
Yeah, absolutely.
And they had a few little fees, and I think they were probably out of pocket about 13.5 totally to get in a house. And do they have to pay PMI? Yes. But they're in a house.
Yeah.
And so goal achieved. And so they'll chop away at that and get out from under it. So there's a path.
Mm-hmm.
There's a path, either if it's through one of your, financing options that you talk about, or, a new build like this, there is a path.
Absolutely. And if there isn't one today, you can get it makes sense to talk to a lender that's willing to coach you through it.
Yes.
I mean, that is so valuable that people don't take advantage of. Like, just because those lenders, a good lender is going to say, hey, here's the things you can do to get your credit score up 30 points real quick. Here's where your debt to income is. Here's how I would structure your payments to your credit cards to help you with your credit. Like, there's so many little things that you can do that can put you in that path to home ownership that aren't that difficult. Now, I get it. Like, some of the younger people have a tough time with how much they're making and this and that, but that takes time. And if you just quit and you don't try and advance your life, then you will stay in that same path. We will stay down there. But the idea of hard work is left the building, I feel like.
That's the problem.
And I personally, the market is tough here, right? So I looked at the closings in April of 17, 18, and 19 compared to the closings this year in April. And we were down 400 closings. So it was 1,400 in 22 and 21. And in 23, we're down to 1,000, which matches where we were in 2014, which wasn't a bad market. But the problem is our inventory is so much lower than it was then. So mixing in the low inventory and the high interest rates, it's just a buyer problem. It's the people who don't want to sell their home because they don't want to go spend more on a house that's equal to. So, right. Or maybe newer, but equal in size. So this is a problem that I feel like we faced this problem back in 2013 and 14 and 15, where inventory was somewhat low, but the idea of the spread between new construction and resale was so great that people decided, I'm just going to remodel my resale home because I'm not going to move to the same size home up here without a finished basement for $100,000 more dollars. It doesn't make sense. And I kind of feel in our market, our resale values have jumped dramatically, and they're starting to catch up to that new construction, which will then turn the tides and get people to go, I might as well buy new at this point. And then we're going to see some of our new inventory. Do you guys have a lot of new inventory down in Fort Worth?
New builds?
Yeah.
We do right now. Finally, we do. We were short forever and ever, but every buyer I've worked with this year, I've put them in a new build.
Okay. So when you say your inventory, what percentage of your inventory do you think is new down there?
I have no earthly idea, Tim.
So up here, we're 60 to 80% new construction. That's our inventory. So like if we just say in a concentrated Des Moines metro and not take the outer areas, it's like 80% of our inventory is new.
It's all new. That's probably very similar to here.
And it should be about 35.
No one is selling,
right
here in Dallas, Fort Worth, except for the dogs. There's some things that have been sitting on the market.
Mm-hmm.
And, I'm about to have a listing, built in 1953. We're going to go live in about 10 days. I guarantee you there'll be multiple offers on that sucker.
Yeah.
In a minute. And so, people just start selling like up there or across America.
Yeah.
That's why I find the new builds are just so easy.
Right. And so the new construction, I feel like, is going to be the next wave because I think our prices are going to settle down a little bit, and resales are so rare that their values continue to go up. And hopefully we'll just start to see the switch where people start to put their home back on the market because they see that opportunity to move into a new home. Like that's what has to happen. But rates just jumped up. That doesn't help.
Nope.
Where do you think that goes?
How far they will go?
Where do you think it goes from here? Like, what do you think the rest of summer and the year looks like?
Well, we have buyers, and I think buyers have finally come to terms with interest.
Yep.
And are feeling more comfortable and can digest a little bit better.
Right.
And so buyers have come out of the woodworks here in 2023. However, I think there's still many sitting on the sidelines.
Well, because those affordable homes aren't there.
Correct. Pricing here in Dallas Fort Worth, we're still multiple offers.
Yep. Same here.
Yeah. And, and I see in other areas, we have a for sale by owner friend on TikTok, if you know what I'm talking about. And he and we have a really good relationship, and I've looked at some things in Dallas for him. And there are some houses that are just simply overpriced that are sitting there, but the only ones that are sitting there are the ones that are overpriced.
Right.
So, I think the interest is going to be a barrier. It's going to be an obstacle for new buyers, period. Based on affordability and then based on just the stigmatism of what that means. I wish my crystal ball was working, but I don't see the 3s and 4s ever coming back.
Oh no, I don't. I don't either.
So
at least in our professional career.
Right. And so I think people just have to wait a little while, or I think there's going to be some time here where that has to be more of a distant memory.
Yeah.
But right now people can still kind of almost reach and touch and remember. And so that stigma is going to hold people off. But I think people are going to come to terms with it and just have to function within the reality.
Right. I think you're right there 100%. We started to see a little bit of it, right? Like the I'm not waiting any longer. I'm going to get out there. I look at, the people who waited because in 2022 and 21, it was so competitive. I'm not getting into multiple offers. I'm not paying over list price. They waited, and then interest rates went to the moon. And now they're like, well, I'm not paying that higher interest rate. Eventually you got to say, I'm not. You got to quit saying I'm not. Like,
Right.
eventually you just got to say, okay, if I don't buy now, I'm going to continue to get hurt, because if I would have paid 50 grand over list price, I would be in a great position right now, because I'd be paying a lot less on the home because of the interest rate.
That's right. But the landscape, will look different, I think, moving forward.
Mm-hmm.
And going back to what you said, my wife and I, we tossed around the idea of, our house has gone up in value, and we're thinking about putting in a pool. We're building a guest house out here. I live on 2.5 acres. We're going to build a guest house out here for my dad. Hey, should we just maybe go look for something? Well, we started kind of nosing around and looking, and it makes much more sense for us to, out of pocket, just put those things in, because the opportunity for upward mobility, and that's what I call it, whenever you upgrade your home.
Yep.
That's not available right now, and I think that's what's going to stick around for a little while. Is the upward mobility opportunities are not going to be there, so people are going to stay in their homes at that lovely 3% and just make it into their castle of what they want it to be.
Yep. So you're kind of in a spotlight area down there in Texas with the migration and people coming across the border. Do you see a lot of that where you live?
Oh yeah. You mean as far as the demographics? Yes.
So I did a video a while back thinking like, okay, if we've got millions of people coming into our country, we have to somehow provide housing for them, right? Whether they somehow can get loans to buy houses, or somebody's going to have to buy properties for them to live in. Do you see that being anything that might spark the real estate industry a little bit? Or do you see that as hurting because corporates buying all these houses and renting them?
Well, I think it's going to be, I think multifamily, that will affect more multifamily housing. I think investors and corporations will see the opportunity to buy land and build more apartments. There are apartments going up here.
Yeah, same here.
Right. Rental is crazy here. And I'll circle back to the millennials in rental. I have a 28. Are you familiar with TCU?
Yeah, Texas Christian.
Okay. So Texas Christian's about 15 minutes from me.
Okay.
And so my nephew is 28 years old. He graduated from TCU. And he is in a 2-bedroom, 2-bath apartment, I don't know, 950 square feet, $2,000 a month, and they're raising it to $2,400 a month.
Right, right. So that there alone, so not only is the house prices and the interest rates and everything an issue for millennials, they rent. Well, when you rent, the typical model of rent is to cost more than to buy, because they want to make money because they have to buy it. And then now obviously they have their down payment, so that knocks some of that payment off, but your rent is going to be more for the exact same place, no matter what.
Yeah, exactly.
And so like that brings up my point of figure out a plan to buy. But right. I mean, the only time I tell someone it's not a good time to buy is if they're not sure they're going to be there within a year or two, because it's hard to get your money back out of a house after a year or two because of the expense to sell. But if you're there 5 years, I mean, I don't know a time in history where you don't win.
That's right. That's right. And it just, going back to this little couple that I just got in the house, $350,000, taxes, insurance, everything, they're all in for $2,800 a month. Mm-hmm. That was their, these builders also, they give the little bit better financing rates.
Yep.
And I'm thinking about him, at now $2,400 a month. He is $400 a month shy of being able to afford that same payment. So now let's just figure up the down payment. Well, let's go to Starbucks a little less. Let's
Yep.
call Amazon and DoorDash a little less. And
Sacrifice.
yes, absolutely sacrifice.
And our world has made it hard to sacrifice.
Well, and it's our fault, Tim.
Mm-hmm.
It's my fault because, my daughter, I pay her, I own another company besides real estate. And
tuxedos or shirts or what is that company?
Concert apparel company. I sell to
gotcha.
School districts all over America.
Yep.
And, my daughter is a salaried employee and her job is to, come in town every once in a while and wave and say hello to people. Yep. But she's a salaried employee. And so she gets paid to go to school.
Right.
And in thoughts of teaching her the lesson of, okay, let's pretend you have a real job. You're getting a paycheck. Now, how are you going to spend it? Because this is telltale of how you're going to do it once you graduate and start earning a living. Because guess what? The bird's out of the nest and, you're going to learn to fly. I don't know where I was going with that.
That's a really hard one. You said it was our fault. And that is a very hard thing to do when you have the means to provide for your kids. It is the hardest thing in the world. Like to just tell your kid, nope, you're going to have to suffer through it.
Right. It is. And, and mom and I, we've kind of made a determination and a plan for graduation day, and so what can we do prepping her up to that? Yeah. She's an only child. Unlike the father of, what do you have, 4 or 5? You have 5 kiddos, right?
5. Yep.
Yeah. So, mine, being one and only, guess what? She was involved in everything and got everything. And that's the life she's accustomed to.
Yep.
But one day that's going to stop and she's going to be on her own. And so we're trying to introduce her right now to some of those hardships, because if she blows out of that money, guess what? You gotta go eat with a friend or, or something. But when we were growing up, and I said this in that TikTok, my parents literally sent me $10 a week whenever I was at college, and I could do whatever I wanted to. And I never had any money.
Yeah,
that didn't go that far.
Yeah.
But now, hey, here's your debit card, and we'll reload it every time. So it is our fault, but that's okay. They can realize that, and they can still make a change.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I don't know if you've ever had the moment in your life where you basically had to eat shit to survive. And I know I have. I had a moment that was very, very rough. And I learned that lesson. And that's, my wife today will say, why don't you ever just slow down? And I'm like, because the minute you take, especially in this business, the minute you take your foot off the gas pedal, it's hard to push that pedal back down. And and it's terrible. Like you have to stay grinding all the time or that business slows down, and getting it back is very, very difficult.
That's right.
Like finding, the kids that say on the TikTok that I'm never going to make it, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, where do you live and what are you doing? You probably live a decent life. You're probably gaming because you got an avatar for your person. You're probably gaming all day long. Like there's so much more you can do. And don't trust me. I get it. Like gaming, they love it. It's fun. It's their hobby. They don't want to give it up. It's kind of addicting, right? Some kids can make good money gaming if they can figure that part of it out, but that's pretty rare. And sometimes you just got to do what you don't love to get to the point where you can do something that you do love. Like we hear Gary Vee and those guys follow your passion. And I'm like, you got to be careful how you take that in.
Correct.
Because you can't just up and leave because you want to go be a video editor and go edit for free. There's got to be some sort of you got to figure out life.
Right.
And by just thinking that you're going to be able to follow your passion and do whatever you want and make money and have a career, that doesn't necessarily happen.
No, it doesn't. My daughter was, she advanced in art and she won many awards, and she could have pretty much gone anywhere she wanted to on an art scholarship. And I said, no, no, no. You need to major. You can absolutely minor that in that. You can go back to school and major in that and pay for that yourself. But for you to get off our payroll, you need a major that's going to pay the bill.
Yes.
And that was hard because I'm a very creative person, and I saw her creativity. But she's in nursing, and this summer, she got a job at the local hospital. They snatched her up, and just right now as a junior, her eyes opened up to this was the smartest decision because sure, I can always go back to the other through this and finance it through this education. So yeah, the passion is a hard one to digest. Yes,
it is. I've got my second oldest daughter right now. She's going to be in sales. She's kind of built like me. She's just like kind of driven. She's not afraid to talk to somebody, which is better than me, but she's not afraid to talk to somebody, and she'll tell people. She's the kind of person I'll be like, oh, well, you need to use me or my dad for real estate. You need to do this. Like, she's just that way. And she's a sweetheart as well. She wanted to go to college for the experience. And I'm like, like, you're not going to go to college just to socialize. I'm like, she wants to get into real estate with me. She doesn't know if that's what she wants to do, but she wants to do that and see how it goes. I'm like, so she's going to be a senior this next year. She's going to get licensed, have her license in high school so she can hold open houses. And I told her, I was like, you go to a parade and you hand out my card and someone calls me and says, I got your card from your daughter and we need to buy a house. I'll pay you a 25% referral fee. You hold open house, you turn over the buyers and sellers to me. I'll pay you a referral fee. And, all you have to do is make introductions. And then when she's, 20, 22, 23, she'll have 4 or 5 years experience. And you know what that means? Like, now you're knowledgeable about the industry. Now your friends are getting to that point to start buying, and you are the leader in that. You are experienced and their age. I'm like, you're set up. You just have to be able to go to work and you have to trust it. But going to college, like, I have a degree. My wife has a master's and she's a real estate agent. Like, you don't need a degree to be a realtor.
Right.
And in any sales. And that's what I told her. I was like, well, she goes, well, what if I want to do this or that? And I'm like, if you go into an interview and you impress them and you have 5 years of experience as a real estate agent and you're 23 years old and you impress them, they're probably going to be just as impressed with that as they are with a little degree and no work experience. You will still get a job because she's not going to be a doctor. She's not going to be a lawyer. She's not going to be a CPA. The ones that actually require a degree, like, go after it. So I think she's going to go to the 2-year community college, get licensed and work and see how that 2-year goes. And then obviously if she has a change of heart of what she wants to do, she can finish up at a college.
Sure. But how long have you been in real estate, Tim?
Since 2004.
Okay. 2015, 2016 for me.
Okay.
So you've seen, I just wish I would have got into it when I was 21.
I got into real estate. My friend did exactly what I'm telling my daughter to do. And he got me to quit my wholesale food job, come back to Des Moines. And he was able to get me to work underneath him where I just like consistently went door to door and set appointments up for him. And it was so easy because I was 25. I would say, I go to for sale by owner and I say, well, what if we could net you the amount of money that you would want, but we did all the work for you? Would you be okay with that? Well, yeah. All right. Well, let me set up a meeting with Heath and he'll come in and he'll show you and we'll do a market analysis. We can do it. Great. If not, no big deal. Okay. I mean, I sold, I think between 5 and 7 houses my first week in the business. Just cold calling. Yeah. It was like, set the appointment up. He comes in, lists it. We get an offer done. I had a phone call from somebody who bought mine. That's 2 transactions. I had another townhome, sold my own 2 transactions. Like, I was in heaven. I was like, this is going to work. But
that's crazy.
But you know how that goes. You get deals, then you focus on those deals and you don't continue to prospect. So then you have, after that closes, you have a 30 to 45 day window with nothing because you were focusing on this instead of focusing on your pipeline. But that's how I got started back in 2004. When you would look down a street and you would see signs, you'd see 5 signs down the street, and 2 of them would have a sold sign on them, and 1 of them would be a for sale by owner. Today, I look down that same street, no signs.
No
Next street, no signs. Next street, a sign, sold without a sold sign on it. That's just like, it's night and day different than 2004. Night and day different.
What is your crystal ball and your experience telling you about the next couple of years?
So I want to say really positive, and we as realtors always get made fun of for that. Of course you're going to say that because then you're going to make commission, sure, whatever. But I look at it, my experience on election years. So we're at the verge. They've been talking recession for a couple years now, and we're at the verge. What up, Trad?
I know.
We're at the verge of, like, are we actually going to hit that recession? And if we do, what's that going to look like in real estate? Historically, recessions don't hurt the real estate market. They help it. The last one did because the housing market is what caused it. But with all the uncertainties prior to an election year, I'm hoping that we don't have slow and then the election year slow. Because I remember when Trump got elected, it was like the next day, phones rang off the hook. Like, after that election was over, people were done thinking about it, tired of all the commercials, and boom, real estate.
Ready, let's go. Yes.
Right. And that's the way, almost every election year it's like that, except for this last one, because it was just bonkers from start to finish because of everything that went on.
Sure.
But I'm hopeful that we don't have slow because people are worried about recession right into the election year where people are like, I'm not doing anything until the election's over. Because then it'll really hurt.
That's interesting.
But yeah, because we have to think about that already. Like, we have to think about election year already. It seems like that was just yesterday.
Right, doesn't it though? But it's coming right up. It's less than 8 months away.
First debate's 2 months away. August, isn't it? June, July, and then boom, we're into it. But I know that there was NAR just put out a bunch of real estate agents have dropped out.
Yes.
Did you see that?
Yes.
So we're going to see a lot of that. And that will help the experienced agents because they're not taking 2s and 3s away from us. One thing I've noticed in my market, so I've represented new construction, different builders. Here, we only have 2 builders that have builder reps. The rest of them are all the builders use real estate agents locally. Right. So like I've represented builders throughout my entire career. And just recently I've got a builder that I sold to, and then I've got a builder that my teammates work with. I've had 2 more builders call me like, hey, I want to talk, and is there any opportunity? And I'm like, I've already got a builder. But what that's telling me is it's no longer am I interested in an order taker. I need someone who's going to market. And I think sellers in general are going to get to that point where Billy Bob's brother over there is a nice guy. I really like him, but man, I really need to sell my house. I need to work with the best. And I feel like that trend is coming. It's coming quicker and quicker. And with agents dropping out, it's really going to help the seasoned agent.
Did you almost say that trend is coming back?
I don't think so.
Okay. Well, do you in your years, you're 19 years? Is that right?
Yep.
19 years. Are agents a dime a dozen in comparison to the way it was?
Back in 2006, our market, we had 6,000 homes for sale. Mm-hmm. And in 2006, we had just the Des Moines Metro inside of our MLS. So all the surrounding towns within about 10, 20 minutes of downtown Des Moines. We had, I think, 15 to 1,700 realtors. Today, we've added communities to about an hour outside of Des Moines. because, you know, when inventory was next to nothing, these little MLSs were like, we have 5 houses. We need to join the Des Moines.
Okay.
So all these little MLSs joined up to Des Moines. So we have probably 200,000 to 300,000 more rooftops inside of our MLS. And now we have, I think, what was the last one? 4,000 agents in our. So it's like everybody got their real estate license.
Right. To pick
When
that, the
their 3
low
years is up,
fruit.
when their 3 years is up and they've sold one house, it's like, I'm out. And I think that's, instead of renewing, I think we're starting to see those 3 years coming up and people getting out of the business.
Well, and it's hard. It's hard for seasoned agents like yourself.
It
Am
is.
I correct?
Yeah.
You know,
I just bought into Redx so I could make cold calls again.
Okay. Wow. Okay. I'm never making another cold call in my life.
I will, because I mean, I'm not going to let off the gas, right?
You know, I'm a dual agent, and I'm just blessed that I am.
Yep, same here.
And that my bread and butter is the other business. And, you know, the 6 months a year I do real estate is icing on the cake. I can't imagine right now having to depend on everything for real estate as income. It's tough.
Well, see, and that's where I sit, is I have 3 full-time employees. And so their families also depend on me selling real estate. And so,
Right.
and I, you know, I just had a conversation with one today, and I'm like, I don't plan on letting anybody go. My whole purpose, actually, I just hired that one. I just hired her last November or October or September, maybe, knowing that we were going to slow down, because I'm like the guy that's going to double down. And when we get through this tough time, we're going to be an oiled machine ready for it to hit. So when that market does ramp back up, because it will, they always do, we're going to be in front of the pack, not behind the pack. That's my goal. That's like my vision, but now it's the grind to keep it.
Well, you've got that in you to do that. You'll succeed just fine.
I hope so.
Here's my word.
I've been in the business a long time. I don't worry about not getting business. But it's definitely, you know, that I've been knocked down. You know, the last time we had this hit back 2007, 8, 9, I was knocked down. And like I said, I fear that. So I'm going to do everything I can to stay out of that. So,
yeah. Well, there's still plenty. And I think as we see these other agents, you know, who just came in for the excitement, who didn't do well, you know, it will. I mean, that those 1s and 2 sales, that in the big scheme of things means a lot.
Yeah.
Seasoned realtors. So,
yep. Well, that's it. Trad, he did a video. He's commenting here. He did a video the other day about culling of the herd. And I was like, you know, I think I hearted it. I didn't comment, but it's absolutely true. We've all been just kind of sitting there like, okay, when's this going to happen? Because I'm getting tired of my past clients calling me for advice because they're working with their cousin and they don't trust, you know, what's going on there. I've had it happen multiple times. I have a local news anchor call me because I have ads and done ads, and I got to know him, and he called me about his home inspection. I'm like, well, you really need to talk to your agent about that. Yeah, but I was just trying to get a second opinion. And I'm like, look, man, you didn't call me to help you. Like, of course I gave him my opinion, but
of course, yes, people don't always get the social and business courtesy there now, do they?
No. And, you know, buying a house is such a big part of people's lives. During that 30 to 45 day window from the time you get it accepted to the time you close, it consumes the brain.
Oh, sure.
And that's why if someone messages me late at night, I reply if I'm awake. I mean, because I don't want them to lose sleep over it.
Oh, right. Me too. And, I'm not a boundary guy.
There's so many people that do have those boundaries, agents, that they don't get back to their people at all. It's like, how do you not reply? How do you not reply?
I have some drafts in my TikToks of satire on top producing agents that I haven't yet had the courage to post because some of them are friends of ours.
Yeah, right. Yeah, we have to be careful on that. That's for sure. But you know, if I put this on YouTube, I know I'm only going to get about 10 to 20 views. So I'm probably
Oh,
safe.
you're so funny.
I'm
That's
probably
funny.
safe, but you never know. I guess I don't say anything that I don't mean. So
I subscribed this morning.
you did.
I did.
Nice. That
So
YouTube is the hardest animal.
is it?
Oh, YouTube. It's because it's ancient, right? TikTok's getting a little bit harder because it's now getting older, getting more people, getting more, you know,
It is getting harder.
it's getting definitely, you don't have near the traction that we used to.
No, and I feel fortunate because and tell me if you feel this way, but there's a there's a select group of us somewhat original realtors, I think,
Mm-hmm.
that we kind of I think we all kind of travel in the same circle, if
Yeah.
you will.
Yeah.
And I feel so fortunate to be a part of that.
Yep. And you know, it's funny because I don't see myself as part of that circle.
Oh, you are.
But see, I like all I see is my stuff and I see everybody else's stuff. So it's kind of funny that I hear that because it's refreshing to know that I'm not making videos for myself, right?
Right.
But
That's funny.
you know, it has been fun getting to know people. And like I messaged you last night, like Trad and Chi and Kristen and I can't selling more. I think it's selling more.
Sure, Kristen. Uh-huh.
Yeah, I got to know her. I
And
mean, it just me.
Courtney.
What's that? Yeah, Courtney
Courtney.
Benson. Yep.
Courtney lives here. She's by
Yep.
me. And we became friends early on, and she didn't have very many followers, and so I kept tagging her in all of our videos, and she started following those people, and then Liz came down, and we did for the Build Expo last summer, and so we did a TikTok meetup, and Courtney came, and it's just I think it's a lot of fun.
Liz was my first interview.
Oh, see that she's a spitball, isn't she?
Yeah, she is. So she was my first interview, and then I think Chi might have been Chi was my first. Liz was my second, or they were like right there. And I like Chi because he's just funny. Like his parody videos that I saw way back in the day. I'm like, dude, how do these not have more views? These are hilarious.
Love it. Yeah, I was very happy when he did that one. That one that got like, I don't know, 2 million views or something.
Yep.
Recently, go back and watch it. I can't remember what it was about, but it was the timing of something that was on the news. It was so funny. And I know that this is so off topic, but I'll tell you this story just in case Trad's still in here. So Trad calls me and he's coming into Fort Worth. And so he wanted to hook up and meet up. And we were talking and he was looking for a dirt bike and this kind of thing. And he said, well, I'm staying with a buddy of mine. I said, well, who are you staying with? He said, some guy named Link. I said, Link and I share an office at Keller Williams. And isn't that just a small world?
It is.
I mean, just crazy.
Yeah, I haven't been invited to any of the meetups, and I don't know if I have 5 kids, so it's real difficult for me to travel anywhere to go to these deals. But man, it would be a lot of fun. That would be a blast. Be a blast. I think I want to go to the Tom Ferry Summit, but I always struggle with that because I got girls that play high school volleyball.
Oh,
and it's like right during volleyball season. And then the elite retreat is always right during volleyball club season. And so it's like I don't want to go for 3 days during the week and get home and then go to a 3-day volleyball tournament the entire week. Because I still have little ones.
Yeah. I raised a volleyball middle. So we did the club and all that. So I hear you. I mean,
what club were you guys part
right
of?
there? TAV here in.
We play them.
Okay.
They come up to Kansas City and Minneapolis occasionally.
Okay.
Yeah, isn't that funny? Like all the way across TAV, baby.
Oh yeah, that traveling. No, I was a little glad to see those days go.
I had 3 girls in 3 different clubs.
No.
No.
See, one, I don't understand how you guys with multiple children can do it because ours was so involved in everything. And I guess maybe all 5 of yours can't be involved in everything.
Well, they were strictly volleyball.
Okay.
That was it. I had one that played soccer for a while, but just volleyball.
Is Tom Ferry here in Dallas?
That's where his no, Vegas.
in
I think
Vegas?
the summit's there in Dallas. So
Okay, well, if you ever come down, we'll organize a meetup just
a
around
meetup.
you.
Heck yeah. That'd be a lot of fun. Be a lot of fun. Hey, it's almost an hour. I got a new
Okay.
listing and I know I need to check in on it and make sure everything's right. But $1 million listing, I'll give you a sneak peek. So I'll be posting a video today that it was on a golf course. So I just walked around with a putter the whole day throughout the whole video.
Okay.
Just, you know, and then this one has an indoor basketball gym. So I walk around with basketball the whole time I'm doing the video.
That's so great.
Just so people are like waiting to see what you're going to do with it. I didn't do anything with the putter, but I at least shot the basketball. But the putter,
you did you make it?
I actually did.
All right.
The first take and the first shot, it went
There
in.
you go.
So it was kind of nice.
That doesn't look choreographed at all.
You know, they can say what they want to say, but it's on TikTok Live that it went in. So
that's great.
Because I only do my lives when I'm doing house videos. So I have my assistant hold the live and get kind of behind the scenes of me doing my videos.
Okay.
So I have to be careful when I screw up, not to cuss and not to get too upset. But
right, I hear you.
It's a good time.
Well, good. Well, Tim, thanks for the invite today. I really appreciate that.
Yeah, let's do another live sometime when it's not echoing.
Yeah, let's do it, man.
All right, buddy. Well, you take it easy and good luck selling for the rest of the month, and we'll probably connect in June sometime.
Yep. All right, buddy. Thanks.
Yep. We'll see you later.
See ya. Bye-bye.